The rotary on smartphone. Yes, yes, a fully functional RotaryDial cell phone that operates on the modern LTE cellular networks. What's all this? Almost 2 years ago, in 2020, I made a rotary cell phone using old phone parts, an Arduino, and stuff from Adafruit and my 3D printer, and then it went viral. And people said, "I want one," and I said no, and then eventually started saying yes, but I was a kit for now. For the past 2 years, I've been designing every element of this phone. I had a vision for some aesthetic refinements to the first version, and it obviously has this new one has the genes of that original 3D printed 3G version phone, but it's also quite different. And it's made entirely with injection molded parts and some machine parts and some stamped parts. Every single piece is newly designed. There's no vintage parts. The dial mechanism, all the gears, everything is newly manufactured. Custom springs. Do you have any idea how many tries, how many iterations it took to get the SD card slot in the casing to line up right with the socket on the electronics? How long it took to design electronics? What about the OLED display on the front? There's no library for that, software library. I had to write the library for the OLED display. I'm not a programmer. So this is just a super quick demonstration of this phone. I'll make longer demo videos in the future on assembling the kit, on the features, and I guess on the experience of starting a company around this. Okay, so first, when a call comes in, the caller ID comes up on the front OLED display. And of course it rings. Hear that? Hear that? That's a real mechanical bell. It's an actually ringing bell built into the phone. There are some bugs, but it does work. Testing. And okay, so to call a local number, we flip the mode switch on the side to the local position, and we dial the 7-digit phone number, as you'd expect. And the digits come up on the front of the phone on the OLED display as you dial, and then you hold the hook button to place the call, and then it works. To make a non-local call, we slide the mode switch to the non-local position, and then we dial the full number, including the area code. Or if we want to dial more likely from our contacts list, we use the middle position of the switch. And now the RotaryDial is used to bring up whatever contacts page you dial on it. For example, if I dial a 2, like so, the rear e-paper display refreshes with page 2 of my contacts list. Now if I want to dial Ellie Arroway, for example, I just dial that number, and I do it while holding the hook button, and it dials that contact. How do you get the contacts list onto the phone in the first place? Micro SD card. There's a text file on the SD card called contacts.txt, and you just add or edit whatever contact names and phone numbers you want, following the formatting convention I came up with. If you want to show the battery strength, you press the beta button. If you want to show the signal strength, you press the lambda button. The function button is for setting volume and accessing like the star and pound numbers for menu entry, things like that. And as you can see, there's an articulating external antenna in addition to an internal antenna. And look, it doubles as a stand. Cool. There's a dedicated microphone switch which physically disconnects the microphone's wires from the electronics for privacy. And the power switch, too, physically disconnects the electronics from the battery. I think when people have seen pictures of this phone online, they assume it's bigger than it actually is, because after all, it's a rotary phone. But it's hand-sized, and it fits in my pocket. So how does it work getting a phone number for it? How do you pay for self-service? Well, most or all Cell carriers have a bring your own device plan where you sign up for service, they assign you a phone number, or I guess you can maybe transfer your number and they send you a SIM card. So the SIM card just slides into the SIM slot built into the back of the phone, and voila. The mechanical, electrical, and software design are all totally open source. It is running the Arduino bootloader, and it's just a matter of plugging in what is now standard and the ubiquitous USB-C cable, and using the Arduino IDE to flash the program. And of course, USB-C is also how the phone is charged. And if you're really into old school, like hacky fun, you can also access the Haze commands being passed between the microcontroller and the cellular modem. So the AT commands, and you can send commands directly using the same USB-C cable as a console cable, thus giving one hardware level access to the full feature set of the cellular modem inside, like jamming detection and all that interesting stuff, anything that's in the... To reiterate, this is currently available only as a kit. I'm taking pre-orders on my website. I expect shipping to be in November. So there are 3 global regions available, 5 colors so far, 2 bell colors, gold and silver. The very first orders that were placed almost 2 years ago are now finally about to be shipped this month, which is due in large part from the chip shortage. And new orders, as I said, start shipping in November. And as the chip shortage situation improves, the plan is to transition to continuous production rather than doing it in batches. Okay, end transmission.